Hello, everyone. This is Darren from Ravenblack, and I'm very excited today to be able to take you on a product overview of Ravenblack's multi-agent scheduler. We are very proud of the multi-agent scheduler because in our 20 plus years of working directly with customers to automate their business processes using WebReports, which has a tremendous amount of ability to capture your business processes digitally in Content Server, we've seen a lot of complexities and a lot of challenges that organizations are facing today because they've been building out so many automations. So as we talk about automations today, we're going to focus specifically on automations that organizations have built using WebReports' ability to gather any kind of data and content from the organization and format it in whatever way the business needs and have that run on a schedule through WebReports' scheduling ability. Okay, so before I take you through the Ravenblack multi-agent scheduler, let's take a quick look at what we're talking about when we talk about web report schedules. So many of you probably already know this, but just in case you don't, the way that you would configure any kind of web report to run on an automated schedule, this is usually managed through the properties pages for the web report. Now, it's not entirely intuitive, but the way that schedules are configured are all done through the destination property tab for a web report. Now, not every single output destination will allow you to set a schedule. And that's because we can't set schedules to web reports that are set to display something in the browser when they're run. So we typically set schedules to web reports that are creating new content and then either bringing that back into Content Server as a new document or a new object, or sending it outside of Content Server to things like an FTP server, sending an email, and so on. So provided that we've selected a web report output destination that we can set a schedule to, the configuration options for the schedule are way at the bottom. So we start by enabling a set schedule, and it's here that we have different schedule options. So here we can set when the schedule is to start running. We can set how many times this web report will run, whether it's a set number of times or we want it to run indefinitely. And we also have options to figure out the time increments before the web report runs on that schedule. So there's a lot of flexibility here, but we can also create very complex schedules by using some of the web report's logic tags within the web report itself and creating very granular timing conditions. So for example, it's not uncommon for us to see customers creating web reports that need to be run on a very strict schedule, even sometimes down to 60 seconds at a time. Now, once we have a schedule set up, the way we would typically manage these afterwards is by coming back to this page and changing that schedule. Or another way in classic Content Server is to manage this through the Content Server administration pages. So if we were to go to the Content Server administration pages and under the Web Reports administration section, there's a specific page for managing web report schedules. So when we go into this page will show us every single schedule that's configured in the system. Now in this case, it's taking a little bit of time for the page to load because this system has so many schedules configured. Now there's two main panels to this standard web report schedule configuration page. The first is the scheduling agent. This is telling Content Server when the agent should wake up and how frequent, what's the time interval between agent runs. So in this case, it's set to 60 seconds. So the scheduling agent will run once a minute. Now the second panel, Web Report Schedules, show us every single configured schedule. Now in a lot of cases, some of these web reports will be duplicated or there'll be many instances of them because what this is showing is not the web reports that contain a schedule, but it's showing the schedules themselves. So as a web report can have multiple schedules assigned to it or configured for it from different users, each of these will show up as an individual schedule. So through the standard configuration page, we can look at all the schedules set in the system. We can see which ones are currently enabled. We can see which ones are currently running. So the run times, for example, the intervals, and so on. Of course, at this point, we could dive into a web report configuration page for that schedule and change it. But just even looking at this sample system, we have so many web reports that are executed once a minute. And you can see already where I'm going with this, where this is a lot of load for this agent to handle on a minute by minute basis. Now, at this point, as someone who's responsible for this content server system and someone who's responsible for making sure that all of our schedules are running on time as they should, there's really two questions that come to mind. First, how on earth do I get a hold of all of these schedules and manage them? There is a lot of work to be done just in terms of going through and just seeing the information related to each schedule, let alone making changes to them and removing duplicates. Second question that I have, which is very critical, is how do I ensure that all of my web reports are actually running on schedule? Are they robust? Are they actually happening on schedule? And how do I get some confidence as the system administrator, manager, owner, what have you? How do I get confidence in knowing that these critical processes that the organization has built into a web report is actually executing as we expect it to? So what we're going to do here is switch over to another system. So this is a second content server system, which has the Ravenblack multi-agent scheduler already installed and configured and ready to go. By the way, that installation and configuration is very quick and very, very easy. So from here, we're going to go through the content server administration pages again. But one of the nice benefits of the multi-agent scheduler is we can actually create shortcuts and links and get to the multi-agent scheduler from anywhere in content server if we wanted to. So from here, we're going to go to the same content server administration page. But you will notice, first of all, it looks entirely different. So we still have two panels here. We have scheduling agents at the top and web report schedules below. But first thing you'll notice is that all of the different schedules, first of all, easier to read, and there's quite a lot more information for each individual web report. Now, this system also has, quite a few web report schedules, but one of the key differences you'll see here is that we have an extra column that talks about the server and the agent. So not only from this view, to answer that first question as an administrator or owner, in terms of getting on top of and managing all of these different schedules, this UI will allow us to easily enable and disable, but also make edits and deletions a lot simpler with few page refreshes and fewer clicks. So that's the first question. Now, that second question, in terms of robustness, you can see here the server agent, we have different values. And this is by far the most value that the Ravenblack multi-agent scheduler brings to your system, is that we are not limited to just one agent. So through this UI, we can see we actually have 4 agents, not just the standard one. So let's select the first one, which is the default agent that your standard system out of the box will be running. So the first thing this does, when we select it, it shows you all of the different web reports that are tied to that agent. So these are the web reports that will be executed when this agent runs. We still have the ability to set that agent sleep interval in minutes. This one's set to 5, which is the standard. Now, if we look at some of the other agents, we have actually created 3 other agents that are specific to different business processes that we want to make sure are running properly and are robust in terms of that confidence that we get in ensuring that our web reports are running on a schedule. So what we've done here is we've created a separate agent for an application that we've built for managing issues and tracking them in-house. We've dedicated a whole other agent to an SAP integration process. And then we've created a 4th agent, which is called the sensitive agent. This is going to provide a dedicated agent to 2 web reports that are very, very critical to the business to make sure that they're running every single time. So as an agent, we again set the agent sleep interval, in this case to 1 minute. So this is running every 1 minute, but already we can see that there's only 2 web reports tied to this agent because we want to make sure that the agent is not getting bogged up in terms of running too many web reports or running web reports that are taking too long and setting this long-term effect where more and more web reports are not being executed because of the backlog that's created from the agent just not being able to work through all of the different web reports in the set amount of time. So now I'm going to take you through the process of not only creating a new agent, but assigning web reports to that new agent as well. And to be honest, it could not be any easier. So the first thing we're going to do is create a new agent. So we already had the default agent plus 3 custom ones that we have here. So when we create a new one, we need to give it a unique name. Now, we recommend that you give the agent a name that reflects the business process that you want to dedicate to certain web reports. So in this case, let's create an agent called monthly reporting. Again, can be anything. So at this point, when we save the agent, we need to go through an automated system restart. And once we are restarted and we're back in the screen, then we can start assigning web reports to this agent. So let's go ahead and restart. So we've come back into the Manage Web Reports Schedules page. And the first thing, maybe you don't notice, but I'll point you to it, is the server status is currently set to yellow. So the server status will tell you red if the multi-agent scheduler is not configured at all, yellow if there's a restart pending or if changes have been made, and green if everything is good and ready to go. So we can also click the server status at any time and refresh that and see our current state. So here we are, we're green, we're good to go. Now, let's take a look at the agent we've created. So monthly reporting, here's our new agent. And with this agent, we have not assigned any web reports to it, so no web reports are being highlighted. So all we have to do at this point to start assigning web reports to this is go to the web report we want and just double click it. So every time we double click a new web report, it is being changed from the default agent or the previous agent it was assigned to, and it's now assigned to your newly created agent. So for this purpose, let's change these 3. You can see they're now set to running the monthly reporting agent. And all we have to do here is we can reload the page if we want, just to show you. The agents have been set. The web reports have been configured in real time. So there's nothing else you have to do. These web reports will now run on that new agent. So they're not currently enabled, so let's go ahead and enable them. And if we need to, we can go into any of these web reports and change their settings. So let's set this one to run forever, save that. And now we have created an agent. We have assigned web reports to this agent. We have figured out which web reports are running on which agent. And we've even made some changes inline, as well as making changes, more detailed changes to the web report schedule page without actually having to navigate away from this page. So the last thing I want to cover with you today is some additional configuration options that will help you draw even more value from all the different scheduled web reports that you have created and the different dedicated agents that we have created around those specific web reports and their business processes that they're driving. So these extra configuration and management options are all available by clicking on the maintenance button from this UI. And from this screen, we provide some additional information that will help you understand the configuration, the settings, and the state of your multi-agent scheduler, as well as turn on additional features that will help you get even more information about how the scheduler is running. So for example, in this first section, we can see, first of all, the system status, and the actions available will vary depending on the current state of the system. Now the next section, performance analysis, provides a lot of very detailed performance related information about the web reports being executed by the schedules and emits all of those to the logs. So this will help you get more information to understand performance issues and benchmarks based on the web reports execution times. Whereas the next section, debug logs, when this is enabled, this will emit a lot of detailed information about the agent itself to the logs. So with these two options, we can get detailed information to help troubleshoot issues with the agent, but we can also have additional information to troubleshoot performance issues from the web reports that the agent is running. Now, the next section of this page gives us a detailed breakdown of each of the different agents. So not only the default one, but the other ones that we've created as well. The detailed information includes things like the associated log file. So when we're looking for the right log file, we can know which one that we need based on the agent that we're trying to troubleshoot. We can see an overview of the sleep intervals, the current status. So for example, 4 of our agents are online, but we still have one that is offline. And it also gives us a detailed breakdown of all the different web report data IDs associated with each agent. Now, this information could be useful for a few different purposes. So if we scroll down to the bottom, we can also see that we have a raw JSON output and a raw JSON dump of all of this configuration information. So with that, I would like to thank you very much for your time today. Hopefully what you've seen here today is that the Ravenblack multi-agent scheduler will help you draw even more value from all the different web reports that you have running on schedules and all the different business processes that you've entrusted into web reports and into content server. So this tool will help you scale all of these automations to the needs of your business and help make sure that you have a handle on them at all times. And when things just aren't looking right, you have the tools in your tool belt to be able to troubleshoot those issues quickly and easily. Thank you very much.